And welcome back. We're now on the fourth round of the Portland Masters. These 16 players all have lost a match and must win to continue in the tournament. Now I am going to summarize each match, starting on the low end of the house.
Thank the Twiggy horse.
So down on 3 and 4, we've got Scott Shimming versus Doug Burrows Jr. We'll watch Doug take a shot here. Doug qualified third out of the field of 141 bowlers. Left-hander. Okay, let's move along here. Okay, camera number 2. We've got the Canadian Jordan Jung on the left lane in the plaid pants. Wearing the pajama pants in bowling has become real big. Dan Jackson, Dean Richards, some other players. And, over the years, they've kind of relaxed the dress code a little bit in bowling. Back when I used to bowl, you used to get fined if you didn't dress perfect, but they're getting away from that a little bit. So here we have the 2001 champion Chris Springfells with a perfect strike on lane 6.
That's right, bro.
So Chris Springfells is taking on the Canadian Jordan Jung. Over on 7 and 8, we've got Jeff Noggle. Jeff goes a little bit high there. Chris Springfells trying to open up with the turkey. Oh, tugs it through the face. And Jeff misses the 3-6. Now, there's really no excuse for that other than maybe not taking his time. And it looks like he's playing John Jordan. He is. John Jordan from Ellensburg, Washington, is taking on Jeff Noggle. Okay, let's go to camera 3, see who we got there. So we got Nick West, who just left an ugly split there. And it's the battle of the Nicks. It's Nick West versus Nick Ferguson, 9 and 10. And then on the right here, we've got Andy Solberg bowling against Kyler Crevier. And over on the right, I should say, we have Andy Solberg right now on lane 11. Setting it a little bit short. And that strike was by Nick Spellman. Nick Spellman is taking on left-hander Michael Bishop. And on the right there is Corey Houston. Corey Houston is bowling against Les Forgash, I believe. Okay, Michael Bishop going for a turkey here. Boy, he tugged that. Corey wearing the fisherman's pants, the camouflage fisherman pants on one pair, and the pajama pants on another. Nothing like dressing comfortably when you're bowling. Personally, I wish we could bowl everything in shorts, give you maximum movement. Great shot there by Corey. He's really moved in. Probably the fronts are starting to get a little bit ugly there on the outside part of the lane. Wood lane surface here at Kellogg Bowl. 39-foot Kegel pattern. This is the 2016 Portland Masters, round 4, the losers bracket. The 8 losers of these matches will be eliminated from the tournament. Okay, and then let's take a look here at the end pair. And we have the great Scott Halverson taking on the only two-handed player to make the cut, Johnny Leggett.
I've never seen so many cars over there.
I was just reading that. Bleak Hay sent me. He sent me that. What the hell?
It's funny.
No, I'm stuffed. I'm gonna get the losers bracket.
Loser side off.
Yeah. That's. I went over and took a picture of the bracket to make it easier. Love having the phones, man.
There's nothing between 15 and 20. So, this should be this way.
This is the great Ernie Schlegel here. He's trying to coach Andy.
No, I ain't coaching nobody. He ain't listening. So, wherever he's playing ain't working. Wherever the
You
other
think he
guy-
needs to move back outside to the track area?
Wait, no, farther. I think he should try to go up to first between 5 and 10 with that dull ball. It'll roll out.
He could
Like
use
that. You
the.
see that? His ball rolled out there and backed up. If you're
Then he could
outside.
trip out the 4-7 and do the claw like you
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
right?
But he wants to play his game and
Wants to play his A game, hooking it, huh?
it ain't working. It ain't
Yeah.
working for either.
I think the right-hander's burned up the middle part of the lane there. Yeah.
If these two guys stay there, the other guy will beat him 540 to 510 if he shoots 500.
This is the voice of the great Hall of Fame bowler Ernie Schlegel, sitting next to me, trying to line up Andy.
I'm trying to help. I came here and sponsored. They used to say, well, I sponsor him. I get all the money. He gets nothing. That's all.
Yeah.
And everybody was playing the 6-star. I won it for the second. There was nothing left of 15. So the farther you're away from the hairpin, the better shot you had to hit it. Guy's got 131 in the 8th. He's only down 20.
And we'll move the camera now over a little bit to the center of the house. And looks like we have a very close, low-scoring match with Nick West shooting a .184. Nick Ferguson can spare strike for 175. Meanwhile, same deal. The pair to the right, we got Kyler Crevier. Going at a 180 clip, and Andy Solberg going at a 178 clip. So we're seeing some transition on these two pairs where there aren't very many high scores. kind of interesting how Nick West bowls John West, and then his very next match, Nick West bowls Nick Ferguson. So he gets to bowl somebody with the same last name and then someone with the very same first name back-to-back matches. That's pretty tough odds right there for that to happen. I'm currently preparing the losers bracket. I'm entering the players, and I'll be posting a bracket here shortly on the website showing the possible evolution of the losers bracket. And Andy Solberg just missed a 2-pin in the 9th frame. That's inexcusable, Andy.
Nothing inside. Why would you play out? Nothing outside. Why would you play out?
Bam, solid ran just go.
That was it. It was right up 8, 9, 10. Dead flush.
280. And let's see. We've got one big game in progress right now. We've got Les Forgash.
Got 300 like that Phil ball.
Les Forgash shooting 280 here against Corey Husted the first game, if he strikes on this ball. Let's see how he's attacking the lanes here. Going right over 4th arrow, and he rips the rack apart. Nice game, very nice.
Okay.
That was the first game.
Huh? I gotta see more than one shot, Ernie. I'm sorry. One shot doesn't make it. There you can go light or
There it is, right up the dark. There you go.
right lane's really open.
Furman Krishka, if you got nothing in,
Doesn't matter if you can't throw good. Stop. Can't say cams.com. I understand that. I can't hit what I'm looking at. That's why I want you to move the car right into the can. What do you think it's that was a still ball. Let me throw them good and then we can.
Come up for the read, just keep moving right to the read will come.
Nothing left.
At least he had. Ball went long, didn't it? Just keep moving your feet. Don't move your eyes.
I'll let him know. Yeah.
Moving right at the door. There it is. There it is. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm talking about right there.
And Les Forgash, he eliminates Corey Houston game 1, 280 to 233. And Corey has a 47 pin deficit. And Ryan Lossley, by the way, that was his second 300 of the tournament. That last game, he had one last weekend, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, in a moment I'm going to summarize our first game. I'm going to start by going down on the low end of the house here. So our first match was very low scoring. We had Scott Shemming 189 here. over Doug Burrows 156. Scott takes a 33 pin advantage to game 2. Moving along to our second camera, we have Jordan Jung 246 over Chris Springfell's 209. 37 pin advantage for Jung, the Canadian. Over on 7 and 8, we have John Jordan from Ellensburg 212 to Jeff Noggles 194. An 18 pin advantage for Jordan. Okay, now over on camera 3, we have Nick West 184, Nick Ferguson 175 for a 9 pin advantage. On the right, we have a very low scoring affair. We have Kyler Crevier 168 over Andy Solberg 166. A small 2 pin advantage for Kyle. However, Kyle has a double and has opened up a larger lead over Andy. And we just saw Michael Bishop run away Brooklyn right there, as Michael Bishop has a 190 to 171 win, his first match, for a 19 pin advantage on Nick Spellman. And as I mentioned already, Corey lost 280 to 233. And on the end pair, we have the two-handed Johnny Leggett with a 231 to 207 victory over Scott Halverson. However, Scott Halverson, slow start here to game 2, has a turkey now. Looks like Leggett still has a pretty good 20-pin lead or so. Interesting. Johnny Leggett goes to one-handed conventional bowling for his corner pin spares, but his first ball is the two-handed whip. Let's take a look at this again, the two-handed style. Very powerful. Okay, I just posted the matches for the losers bracket on the 3 Facebook sites. The way you get to them is you're either a member of Northwest Bowlers Facebook group, Kellogg Bowl Facebook page, or the Portland Masters Facebook page, We see Johnny Leggett really wrap that up with lots of revolutions, the two-handed approach, 9th frame. Back down on 3 and 4. Take a couple looks here at the lefties. Chris Springfield's on the right. And on the left here, we have our number 3 qualifier from last weekend, Doug Burrows, who struggled with a 156 the first game. It looks like Scott Shimming has about a 6-pin lead this game, so he's up by about 40 over Doug Burrows at the halfway point of this 4th round. And then let's take a look at the Springfields versus Jung match. It looks like Chris up by 7 in this match, but trailing by 32. So Chris is down by about 25 halfway through. Jeff Noggle with a strong game going here, making up the difference that he has with John Jordan. Looks like Jeff's maybe got about a 10-pin lead through 18 frames, roughly, over John Jordan. Okay, now we're taking a look at the middle of the house, and we see that Nick West shot 207 over Nick Ferguson's 196. That match remains pretty close. And then the low-scoring affair here, it's the You Take It, I Don't Want It match between Crevier and Solberg. And they are still very close. I think right now Crevier has a 7-pin advantage over Solberg. And we see a vicious ringing 7 by Michael Bishop right there. And that match there looks like Michael is holding on to a 16-pin lead through 17 frames over Nick Spellman. Over on 15 and 16, we have Les Forgash leaving a 2-pin on a double, and through 17 frames, Les Forgash has a 67-pin advantage on Corey Husted. And then let's go to the end of the house here, 17-18, the right end, where Scott Halverson is just beginning his 3rd game. I'm going to walk down and see how close that match is. And that 4-pin looked a lot like the 4-pin he left when he lost that first round very narrowly to Winklepleck. And it looks like Johnny Leggett has a 55-pin lead over Scott Halverson after 2 games. Ernie's having a beer.
Yeah, he will when he's done with his beer.
And Michael Bishop with a key strike in the 9th frame, maintaining a small lead over Nick Spellman. Okay, Michael Bishop in the 10th frame here. Very good shot. Michael's very good at throwing the ball with lots of aggressive speed. Appears it, so Michael can shoot a 223 if he goes off the sheet. If Nick strikes out, he can shoot 226. And Forgash rips the rack in the 9th, and that extends his lead to 68 pins over Corey. So Corey's got reason to be concerned. Nick, Les Forgash shot 280 the first game and posting some numbers. And Ernie just ran out to the car. The great Ernie Schlegel ran out and got a gold rhino for Andy, and Andy went dead flush. It looks like a sanded gold rhino. And Nick answers the call with the first 2 strikes in the 10th. Nick can shoot 226. So if Nick strikes here, he will have a 16-pin deficit to recoup the last game against Michael Bishop. We see Corey throwing a good shot there, but leaving another 10 pin, so Corey can only shoot a 194. And he gets a double trip on the 4 pin for 226. Okay. It looks like Halverson is trimmed off 24. So Leggett has a 31 pin lead with 6 frames to go. Right now, Les Forgash on lane 16 can really put the hammer down on Corey if he strikes. He does not. So Les can shoot 203. And so if he covers a spare, he's going to have roughly a 50 pin lead on Corey. Not an insurmountable lead.
You got a little, but he ain't got nothing. You got a little.
I don't know enough of some of these guys. This guy's stuff because he has loft. A lot of loft, and that's good whenever. But that's his natural. So he don't fight the edges.
Yeah.
That's why I left a solid foul.
So it looks like, and it's kind of difficult to see here on the monitor, it looks like Scott Shimming has a 33 pin lead with 1 game to go, down on 3 and 4 over Doug Burrows. So our number 3 qualifier, who does not have much match play experience, might be going into an 0-2 defeat. We see that a lot where it's a different mindset. You know, you have the qualifying mindset, and then you have the match play mindset, which they're different paces, and it's a different game when you get into match play. It's 1-on-1 versus 1 against a number. Scott Shimming, a senior player. Okay, that's camera 1. Let's go to camera 2 here. And it looks like Jordan Jung just finishing out the count in his 10th frame. Another pretty low scoring affair there. It looks like Chris Springfield struggled to a 176, while Jordan shot 207. So Jordan's got a pretty comfortable lead heading into game 3. Jeff Noggle now on lane 8 for a double. And he saws out the 5-7. Thanks, sir. Okay, so I finally have the results after game 2. And here's the breakdown. We got Scott Shimming with a 22 pin advantage over Doug Burrows. We've got Jordan Jung 68 pins ahead of Chris Springfield. John Jordan 18 pins ahead of Jeff Noggle. We've got Nick West with a 30 pin lead over Nick Ferguson. Andy Solberg with a 17 pin lead over Kyler Crevier. Nick Spellman with a 16 pin lead over Michael Bishop. Les Forgash 44 pin lead over Corey Husted. And Johnny Leggett with a 55 pin lead over Scott Halverson. And let's go down there because it looks like a couple of our matches are nearing the end here. Let's see if we can pick up Scott Halverson here. Scott Halverson's coming up in the 7th frame. He's on and open. Then he rips the rack. And it looks like Johnny Leggett has about a 30-pin cushion with 3 frames to go. Well, there's one match down here that's coming to a conclusion on camera 3, right here on the left. We've got the 2 Nicks, Nick Ferguson and Nick West. And I see Ferguson left a 4-9 in the 9th. It looks like Nick West is going to only need a 172 to advance. So really, you know, Nick West, he gets 1 mark in the next 2 frames in good count, and he's in. And we see Andy getting the Jersey Squasher. Michael Bishop just threw a turkey in the close match between him and Nick Spellman, putting a little distance between them. Currently, Michael Bishop has a 40-pin lead now over Nick with 6 frames to go. And Nick West just wrapped that matchup. Let's go down here and watch Johnny Leggett. So, now Scott Halverson just threw a double. Let's see if we can have a clutch 9th frame shot here from Johnny. And he rips the rack apart. So Scott has managed to close that gap between him and Johnny. It's down to about 20 pins. If Scott Halverson strikes out, he would have a 235. That would force Johnny Leggett to shoot 181. So if Scott Halverson were to strike out, he would force Johnny Leggett to go strike 9 spare or strike 8 spare to win. So this is an issue where he may force Johnny Leggett to perform in the 10th, even though he's had a large lead for the balance of this match. And that's going to make things a lot tougher now for Scott. So it looks like, barring any disaster, let's see, Scott can shoot 214. Johnny Leggett has a 55-pin lead. Johnny Leggett basically needs a 9 count and 2 balls, so he's probably going to move on, barring a big 4 or something crazy in bad count. Meanwhile, over here on 15 and 16, Corey Husted has elimination in the tournament staring him in the face as Les Forgash once again posting a string of strikes. Right here, you got Les Forgash with 4 in a row. And Corey struggling here. And then Michael Bishop, a 5-bagger. Once again, we see left-handers getting locked in, especially in the middle of the house. It looks like the low end of the house, from what I'm seeing, The low end of the house, the left side, is not nearly as good. All the high scores seem to be coming in the middle to the high end. And you just heard Johnny Leggett wrap up his match. And right here, Michael Bishop can really drop the hammer with a 6-bagger on this shot right now.
10-point lead.
And he gets a little fast. Going to keep it interesting. You could just see him accelerate there at the bottom of the swing. And Forgash goes Brooklyn. It's a dagger in Corey's heart. And
Shine the ball on that right lane. Ball's
The ball's hooking.
and that gave Nick some life with the open right there.
right about 10.
Okay, well, you know, let's see here. Let's take a look and see what's going on again at the low end of the house. And can't quite see the score there with the timestamp. Scott Schemming ripping 7-10. Now that's going to make that match a lot more interesting now because he's got a 22-pin lead on Doug Burrows, but when you have a double and you go pocket 7-10 and you're in a tight match, that can really hurt. We'll have to see what develops from that. Meanwhile, John Jordan is having his way with Chris Springfells. And let's see, Jeff Noggle. Is up now. Jeff Noggle may be able to. Now I was going to say he's in a tight match with John Jordan. I believe Jeff has the lead now. Matter of fact, with that count, Jeff is tied with John Jordan with 3.5 frames to go. So we're going to have to keep our eye on that match because that's going to be a close one down to the finish. So let's go down here. Okay, Michael Bishop coming off the washout. Currently has a 24-pin lead with 2 frames remaining. Oh, and he gets a love tap. Leaves a flat 7 and trips 7 out. Thank you, Resin Ball. And let's see what's going on over here, camera 2. John Jordan coming up here with a key shot. Ooh, and he just rips the rack, and Jeff Noggle didn't like that one bit. It was a good shot, though. I remember last year I spilled my coffee early, and I made sure I drank it all this year before I spilled it. And Michael does not carry the half pocket. Off screen, Michael Bishop just left. A 10-pin in the 9th. Let's go back to that match. And we got a really tight match here between Andy and Kyler. But we're going to go over here to camera 4 because we've got a really close one here.
Got one.
Striking the ninth by Spellman. And let's set up the 10th frame here. If Nick Spellman were to strike out, he'd have a 234. Michael Bishop would need a 219 to advance. So if he strikes out, he forces Bishop to mark with good count. And it holds pocket. Meanwhile, I'm going to be toggling back and forth. We got some really close matches side by side here. Here's a clutch ninth frame shot. Kyler Crevier, never been here before, against Andy Solberg. Both guys struggling. This is a pivotal shot on a strike. And hopefully he can keep his emotions in check here. Don't want to get too excited. Ooh, and Nick leads a 4, and so now we're in a scenario where Michael Bishop just needs good count. If Michael Bishop were to, for instance, go 9 out for 210, he's a winner. Here goes Andy Solberg. And Andy Solberg is going to go down to defeat, possibly. He's got a little bit fast there. A little bit fast. Okay, so the only way that Michael Bishop can lose this match is if he throws a big split right here. I'm going to go over to camera 4 for his final shot. Right here on lane 14. If this is an 8 count or better, he moves on. And that should do it. Michael Bishop has defeated Nick Spellman. Les Forgash has defeated Corey Houston. Corey's been eliminated. Also, Scott Halverson has been eliminated by Johnny Leggett. And down here, we've got Kyler Crevier winning his first match ever. And we can hear the language from Andy Solberg being quite unhappy with a 150. But he's going to buy an incinerator and a half shirt. Okay, so let's take a look down here at the low end. We've been ignoring you guys, sorry. We've got Chris Springfells coming up now in the 8th frame. Playing the far outside part of the lane. Throwing a great shot. And let's take a look at the deficit in that match. John Jordan in the 10th frame, and he flags the head pin. Well, someone took my sheet for game 2, so I don't know exactly what the deficit is there. Let's go back to camera 1. And Chris throws it in the gutter. I'm guessing he did not plan that gutter since he was on a double. That's too bad. Okay, so Jordan Jung's going to move on. Can't quite see the scores with shimming. and Burroughs. It looks like a close match. That's way down at the other end of the house. That's gotta hurt. Oh well. Okay. Finishing up the fourth round here. Yeah, it looks like Jeff Noggle lost as well. So our winners, not sure about 1 and 3 and 4, but Jordan Jung won. And he defeats Chris Springfells. The losers of this round are eliminated. And John Jordan defeats Jeff Noggle. Nick West defeats looks like Nick West defeated Nick Ferguson. Not sure though. Someone took my sheet. Well, that concludes our round except for this pair. I'm not sure because I can't read the score. I'll go down and look real quick. And it looks like Doug Burroughs needs a mark here in the 10th frame. Doug Burroughs marks here, he moves on. That's it. Doug Burroughs came from behind and survives. Very low scoring match. Scott Schemming looks rather disappointed. Okay, so I'm going to update the fourth round now, the scores on Facebook. Our 230 squad is running a few minutes behind. That will be some more losers bracket activity, as well as I believe some winners. I'll have to look at that. I'll have to take a look at the bracket, see what the times are. I don't want to speak too soon. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to have another 8 loser bracket matches at 2:30, and the winners that are 2-0 will rejoin the surviving losers for the 345 squad. So that concludes round 4. I'll be back in about 10 minutes with the beginning of round 5 coverage. We're down to the top 24 remaining competitors, and we're going to pare it down to 16 after the next losers bracket squad. I will come back on shortly and notify all of you when the new bracket scores from round 4 have been updated on Facebook. Thanks for listening. This is the 2016 Portland Masters from Kellogg Bowl.